mean, this seems like the sort of perfect spot to start this journey with you here in Belfast. The historic, the redevelopment of the Docklands all around us, the old and the new. But I think particularly being next to the Nomadic itself, which must be the inspiration for everybody.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you've hit the nail on the head there. Like, it kind of is that juxtaposition of the old, the historic, but the new. It's trying to move things forwards, and be proud of the past, but it's also been continuously looking forward into the future, and that's very much been the ethos with Nomadic as well. It's like, yes, we want to be inspired by what's come before, but we want to drive it forwards in the new era and make some new history, and that's kind of what we're all about and what we're trying to do with it.
Okay, great. Well, I'm delighted to say we're here in Belfast for a very special occasion. It's the actual opening of Nomadic's very first store. And given this is a brand that's only 3 or 4 years, we'll get into the background of the story in a minute. But joining me today I'm joining him in his store, is the founder, Peter McAuley. I think let's start maybe with a bit about you. You know, what brought you to this point? Tell me a little bit about your career before you got into.
Yeah, thanks, Rob.
The watch brand.
Welcome to Belfast. Yeah, welcome to Nomadic's flagship store. Yeah, it's our first time opening a high street location, so we're super thrilled about it. But yeah, in terms of me, my background, so I was a mechanical engineer, so started very much in that technical side of things. Worked a lot in manufacturing and that side of things, and how to make complex things essentially for the aerospace industry and the railway industry and those sort of components. And then sort of maybe realized I was more interested in the business side of things, and that was where I more progressed into study business, and then decided I wanted to pursue something of my own. So that was how I very much got started with the business side of things. But I guess my obsession with watches maybe goes a little bit further back into childhood. I think I always had that technical mind for how things work, and that kind of, I remember being totally fascinated by discovering that a watch was mechanical and there was no batteries in there, that it was powering itself, and that was like, oh wow, this is fascinating. And
were you taking them apart, or were you just sort of flipping them over?
Just flipping them over and getting excited about them and getting interested in them. And my uncle had a few nice watches and things, and he'd left me some nice pieces when he passed away, and one of them in particular was a really nice Tag Heuer. I was wearing it on a kayaking trip, and these sports watches are supposed to be robust, they're supposed to be capable of doing anything, and this one came off my wrist on the water, and I remember being disappointed that I lost it at the time, but it's really only maybe as I've matured and reflected upon it that it's hit home that that was a really difficult thing to lose. And that was maybe where with Nomadic I got the realization that watches are about more than just telling the time. It is about the stories connecting them and the marking those milestones and those memories, and that was how we sort of developed the brand from there.
And I guess you wanted something that was going to be indestructible.
Exactly,
something
indestructible, something that was never going to fall off your wrist. And
I bet you paid attention to the clasps.
Exactly, you paid attention to the clasps, you paid attention to the construction of the bracelet in particular, to the watch, because a lot of people move focus just on the watch, and it is about the whole thing as an experience. And that was key to it. And I wanted them to be priced so that, yes, it's a luxury item, but it's not maybe the end of the world if you lose it. It's not so in the high end of horology, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, and just before you started sketching watches that became Nomadic, I mean, you're working down in the Belfast dockyards for Black Box, which is an incredibly successful, massive, high-growth gymnasium equipment maker, and you were basically responsible for setting up the manufacturing. Is that right?
Yeah. So I was head of manufacturing for that business, and we scaled it dramatically. It was a really high-growth e-commerce business, and we were working with personal clients buying their home gym right through to like professional fit outs for Man United and Aston Villa and all the professional sort of football and sports teams and elite athletes, right down to your everyday Joe with a couple of dumbbells in the garage, and that was the span of it. And that was a super exciting company to be a part of, and I learned a lot about how to grow a team in particular, and the importance of culture really in building a high performance team.
Yeah. And I guess you know it's an engineering business where you're dealing in precision mechanics, I suppose, but you just got to shrink them down to something about an inch across.
Shrinking all that right down, yeah, and you know, a lot of the principles stay the same in terms of the systems and processes you need to put in place for quality, and you know, a lot of that is derived from the automotive industry, and it's trying to take the best in class from all of these high-tech, high-growth manufacturing companies and apply it into watchmaking. That's oftentimes quite a traditional industry, and we want to try and apply some of the best in class so that we can make things incredibly accurately, make them incredibly robust, and make sure that the quality of them is set to last for generations.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, the history of those Docklands seems to be sort of a thread that's running through this story. There you were manufacturing this gym equipment, then COVID hits. I mean, what the hell are you going to do with gym equipment if you're putting those into hotels and places where people need to gather, and you started sort of putting your dream into reality and started sketching some watches. Literally sat there in the Titanic Hotel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in the Titanic Hotel. Wanted to go there, soak up some of that history, soak it up, and just find some thinking space to really be inspired and to create the business model for Nomadic alongside the designs for the first watches. And I wanted to keep it something quite classical, quite robust. That's something that feels familiar, but something that's a little bit unique as well, and does its own thing. So it's a fine line, I think, between creating something that's new and unique, but also that does feel familiar, that people actually do want to wear the thing and it's not so outlandish, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I was driving in from the airport into that down towards the Titanic museum area, and looked to my left, and there's a historic ship with Nomadic on the side. Tell me about that ship.
Yeah, so the SS Nomadic, we came past there and seen it up close, but that was the original tender ship for Titanic. So the Titanic itself was so large it couldn't really fit into most docks and ports at the time, so they had to have a tender ship that would carry the passengers out to the larger ship. So that was the role of that ship, and then it then went on to be a merchant ship and was involved in both the world wars, carrying goods and munitions and things for the Allies from France to Great Britain. And then it went on to be a party boat, and it was a restaurant, and it was near the Seine and right near the Eiffel Tower. So it was quite a cool piece of history, and we wanted the name, I suppose, Nomadic, from that it links into all of that history. But when you see it for the first time, it just stands on its own, and it is its own thing, and it represents that spirit of adventure and all those things that we wanted the brand to stand for.
Yeah, but it's also that Docklands is modernising. You've got the music arena there. You've got the museum, obviously, shopping, hospitality. Big construction going on of apartment developments, and I think again this is another part of your story, that you want to be part of the new Belfast and the new entrepreneurial spirit that's going on in this.
Exactly, that's exactly what, like with Belfast always had a pretty coloured history and some difficult times, and I think the thread that runs through is resilience, and the people here are very resilient, and we want to be part of that new Belfast and carrying it forward into a new generation. It's not a city that's completely devastated by the troubles anymore. It's a modern city that's evolving, and we're very much at the forefront of pushing that forward and telling that story to the world. And as you've seen, the tourism is booming in the city now, and people are coming here in high volumes for the first time really over this last couple of years, and it's just amazing for us to be able to play a small part in that.
Yeah, I mean it's a stunning city, and your store here is right in the main square, right by City Hall, right where the tourist buses stop. I've been told as well.
Exactly.
That must be handy.
So, you're right in the heart of it, and that was very much intentional, that we do ingrain ourselves in the fabric of the city and make it accessible to people. And you've seen the watchmaking is literally right below us here, and that's very intentional again to bring that to the forefront of people's attention, because I think a lot of times watchmaking is quite secretive and it's quite hidden away in a dark cupboard somewhere, and we wanted to kind of show that off and show people, because a lot of our clients will be real watch enthusiasts, but a lot of them aren't as well, and they may be seeing a mechanical watch for the first time, and we want to be able to show them what that is and explain it to them a little bit more. So it's quite exciting for us to be able to show that to people.
Yeah. So let's look into the watches side of things a bit. So tell me when you're sketching a watch from from with your experience in setting up manufacturing, MBA, you understand business. I mean, are you sort of projecting forward, thinking about who is my customer, what is their price point, what is it that's going to excite them, or are you just thinking, I'm going to draw what I love and let's hope you will like it?
No, yeah, it's very much we take a client first approach. So it's very much looking at what does the market need, what are customers going to want to buy into, and how can we develop a product that's going to sit in its own category and do its own thing within that sort of relatively crowded marketplace, and carve our own little niche within that. We focus on the customer experience first and foremost, and how do we develop that back into a watch that fits in with our brand and aligns with us. So it's very much about what's the story we want to tell with the piece, and then how do we craft that timepiece around that story.
Yeah. Well, why don't we sort of put that into action? Show me a couple of pieces and tell me the story that you're trying to tell.
Yeah. So this piece here is our Mirai 401. So this is really the first piece that kind of put us on the map, I suppose. That was our first watch, and this particular one is actually a boutique exclusive. So we've designed a crisp black and white dial with a blue bezel, which isn't a color configuration we've done before, and that's going to be exclusive to the store. And each piece on the back is individually numbered with flagship store edition 2025, and they're all, so this is number 6.
So you can't buy it online. You can't
buy these online. You have to come in. So so we have our Emerald Abyss that we call it. It's like this beautiful deep dark green. That's our best seller. That's our kind of our core product, and that's the watch that really kind of catapulted Nomadic forwards. But yeah, you'll see very classic dive watch designs. It's called Mirai, which means seafarer in Irish. Okay. And then 401 is like a little reference to Titanic, because it was the 401st ship to be built here in Belfast. So that's why we have the little propeller on the back. So when you look through the sapphire case back, you can see the propeller, and that's modeled after Titanic's propeller and the SS Nomadics, and that's why we have this huge life-size 1-to-1 propeller on the wall sticking out. So that was made by one of the set designers from Game of Thrones. So the whole Game of Thrones series, so a lot of it was filmed here in Belfast, and we wanted to see that down by the so yeah, I should have pointed out some of the studios and things that are down there, but that was all done here, and we were able to use some of the local craftsmen who worked on that to build us something really, really cool for this new store, and just makes it an experience. So
but you're looking to promote and work with local craftsmen, and you hire your own watchmakers. They're here on site. Customers will see their watches being worked on, but you're not reinventing the wheel. These are Swiss precision movement, Sellita, presumably.
Sellita, we use Sellita, yeah.
And cases and dials are just multiple suppliers from all over the place.
Those from the best suppliers across the world that we can get our hands on, and that's really the next stage of our evolution on our journey with Nomadic, is to try and manufacture as much locally as we can feasibly do, and do it at the quality that we need it as well. And that's going to take a little bit of work over the next few years to develop that supply chain, because yes, there are incredible aerospace component companies here locally that can help us get the accuracy that's required, but can they get the level of finishing and the detailing that's required, and do it at a price that makes sense commercially as well. So there's those challenges ahead, but that's very much what we want to do with Nomadic.
But I mean, aerospace companies presumably are pretty focused on aerospace. I mean, do they have time capacity or any inclination whatsoever to get involved in watchmaking?
So
I suppose you're going to find out.
Those are the challenges that we're facing right now. Yeah. So I think that the technical skills are available locally. It's just whether we can translate that into our commercial product, and that's what we're working on right now.
I mean, you've clearly made a decision of a price point of around about £1,000, give or take, for most of your watches. I mean, as you start adding that sort of locally made components, that price is going to go up and up and up, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So
is that the plan?
That's we wanted the watches very much have those entry level pieces starting around £1,000, and as we grow and develop more models and more complicated models, we will have things that go higher and push some of the price points up. But we're going to make sure that we develop products that are worthy of that increased price point as well, so that we have a range of things across sort of a good, better, best model, so we have things to offer everyone at different levels.
Yeah. And are you working only in steel, or are you working with any other materials?
Yeah, right now we're working in stainless steel 316L. We are working on a titanium dive watch right now as well, so that's going to be a slightly bigger, beefier piece. So that came about through a custom client that wanted us to develop a specific piece for them with a helium escape valve. So they're working on a real deep sea diving project right now in the Middle East, and we wanted to support that for them. So we were developing a titanium piece that's going to be really cool. We're quite excited about that. So yeah, that's an exclusive. I haven't mentioned that to anyone. So that'll be definitely this year. It's likely going to come out in Q3. So yeah, very very soon.
Okay. Oh, that's exciting. Little scoop for us.
Little scoop.
And
yeah. Forgot about that one.
And you're 3 or 4 years in, and you've gone down the sort of classic watchmakers lineup of collections, land, sea, and air. Let's call it that.
Yeah,
let's call it that.
Exactly.
Run us through the portfolio.
Yeah. So right now we have our Mirai range, which is the classic diver. That's next we have our Touras, which is kind of an expedition style watch, an explorer style watch, and it's themed around Antarctic exploration and
almost
sort
a
of
field watch. It looks like
field watch really of that.
Yeah.
So that's that sort of category. The next up we have our GMT range. It's called the Fior 555, which means true in Irish. So it's all about staying, even if you're traveling, you can stay true to your roots, and wherever home is for you, you can always kind of set your hand, your GMT hand.
Your GMT.
It's so Fior's our GMT category, and then recently last year we released the Seor, which is kind of a 36mm sports watch, and it's really a crossover piece that's designed for ladies, because we haven't really had a significant ladies offering. And then but it's sized appropriately so that men can wear it too, and we have a few sort of darker colorways. Like I personally really like the dark green in it for myself, but there's some there's a beautiful, we call it the Starry Night, and it's got an aventurine dial with natural diamonds all around it, and that was the piece I designed for my mother because it was her 60th birthday coming up, and I had Nomadic watches, my dad did, my brother did, and we were all loving wearing them, and my mum didn't really have anything that suited her or fitted her wrist properly, so I was like, for her 60th birthday, let's design something that's going to be really special for her. So that's where we developed the Seor, and we had it at our launch party actually for the GMT watch, the Fior. We were releasing that on board the SS Nomadic, and then kind of at the grand reveal of that watch, I sort of pulled out this additional watch. Oh, by the way, we've also got this, and got my mum up and give it to her, and then she got the very first piece. So it was kind of a cool special moment for us and for her. She was delighted. So yeah.
And most of the designs are absolute classics. You haven't pushed the boat out, to, if you excuse the pun, but it seems like you're developing some of the more creative ideas, which might be boutique exclusives, might be limited editions.
Yeah, exactly.
Could be stone dial here. It could be. I mean, what sort of ideas could come next? Because it seems like people need to keep that sort of PR machine fed.
Yeah, we want to keep pushing the boundaries a little bit, and if I like to think of sometimes the brand as if we were an ice cream shop. You would want to have your core flavors, your strawberry, your chocolate, your vanilla. Get those incredible, and then you can start doing some of maybe the more out there flavors and push the boat out a little bit more, to use the pun there. So that's what we're working on now. We're building out that core range where we can then start to progress from it, find our own feet in terms of that design language, and I think every time we release a new model, we're pushing it that a little bit further and just finding our feet in that design language. So it feels very much like a Nomadic piece, but it's something unique as well. So the next piece, where I mentioned our titanium dive watch that's coming out, but the next big release for us is going to be a chronograph as well, and I think you'll hopefully see a little bit more flair coming into that piece that isn't maybe something you'll seen too much before. So yeah, we're excited about that.
Have you got a name for that collection yet?
It's called the Cade, which the Cade 126. So it means first, and it's about. It's really a motorsports inspired watch. So Northern Ireland has some pretty amazing motorbike riders, the likes of Joey Dunlop and those guys. But one of our brand ambassadors is a guy, Glenn Irwin, incredible motorbike racer. He's won the Northwest 200 more times than anyone else. Set the speed records on that. So that's where the 126 comes from. Is his record breaking time on the Northwest 200, but it's also Joey Dunlop, or probably our most famous rider, he came first at the Adamant TT 26 times. So that 126 is again a little reference that tells some of those stories as well and links back to the heritage. So this watch is going to be a really cool mechanical day date, and it's going to be a beautiful chronograph.
Yeah, I have actually, I've seen it on screen. It looks really good. Can't wait to see that one. See that one in the metal. And I mean, it really is important to get up close with these watches, because for the money that you're talking, I mean, you're looking at some real high-end touches here. The applied numerals, the markers, the ceramic bezel,
yeah.
bezel. I mean, you've got a custom rotor here, which is absolutely stunning on the underside. I mean, it's a lot of watch for low four figures.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's you know, that's part of what we wanted to bring is an amazing bang for your buck. You know, we do get a lot. We don't cut any corners in terms of that. The level of quality that we put into the pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that, yeah, where we sit in that marketplace is a great value for the money.
Yeah. I mean, we're here in your new store. It's well, there was some discussion this morning, but that you might have the doors open this afternoon. But I've got a feeling it's going to be tomorrow.
It's going to be tomorrow. I think. Well, the grand opening, I think we'll pitch for tomorrow.
Okay, but I'm here.
Soft opening, test the
either way. I feel like I'm here here for a piece of history.
Yeah,
definitely. Your history. So tell me about the store. Why do you? I mean, we see a lot of micro brands who would never end up with their own physical stores.
Yeah. So physical retail is like really core to what we always set out we wanted to do. You know, from day one, we knew that someday we wanted to have a physical location. You know, watches are such a tactile thing, I think. And you just said, you know, you need to get hands-on with these to really experience it. And that's the feedback that we got time and time again from our customers when they received the watch after buying it online was, oh, wow, this is way better than I thought it was going to be. And, you know, your expectations are already quite high. And if you can over-deliver on that, that's where people get really, delighted with the product. And we wanted to open up a store so that people can come in and experience them and touch it and get hands-on. And, you know, where we've located it, we wanted this to be a real, like something you haven't really seen before on the high street. We wanted to make this, yes, a showroom where you can come on and try on a watch, but, you know, you can do that anywhere. So that's why we've made it quite an immersive experience and put our watchmaking on show. So none of that's hidden. You can come in, you can actually see the guys who are making the watches and get to meet them and say hello to them. And I think that just brings a whole new level of theatre and drama to, you know, what could just be buying a watch. But actually, no, it's a whole experience. You know, people want, you know, they talk about retailtainment is a thing now. You know, people don't necessarily want to leave the house to just go to a normal shop. They want something, a reason more, and that's why it's about creating those incredible experiences and incredible memories. And it is then for people who come in, it's, you know, maybe a tourist that's visiting the city for the first time and they're, oh wow, I want to have a piece that's going to mark that great trip where, you know, these amazing things happened, or maybe it's for an engagement or a big birthday or something like that. And it's, oh, do you remember that time we went down and met the guy who made my watch? And that's kind of what we want it to be. Yeah,
I think that's so crucial. I mean, if you're taking it from a customer's perspective, this isn't just a quick transaction where you're buying a watch. To actually have, you know, even if it's as simple as having the bracelet refitted, but you can see it right there. And just to give a little bit of context to what the store looks like and feels like as you come in. I mean, I spend a lot of time going into big stores around the world. Let's take anybody who's got Rolex these days usually has a watchmaker on site, and they've got a little, you know, they like to have the glass window so you can look in and see what the watchmaker. It's usually on the first or second floor. People aren't really seeing it. You've essentially built this store around your watchmaking workshop. It's about 50% of the retail space on the ground floor, and it hits you straight away. A massive window. There's your watchmaker. I think that's a really smart way to go.
It's certainly a bold move, and it's, you know, if you, maybe the business analyst would tell us it's maybe not the most commercially viable way to utilize premium real estate space and
you probably
retail
do it
space
on Bond Street, but maybe
perhaps.
I think the price per square foot might be a bit high there.
So it is definitely an expensive thing to do in terms of utilizing that prime expensive square footage, but for us that's key to it. You know, the watchmaking should be the hero of the story, and that's what we wanted it to be. And, you know, it's showing that off to people and showing that we the level of detail that we do go into to hand assemble the watches.
If we look at it from a sort of business model point of view, I mean, I'll give you an example. Talking to Mike France and Christopher Ward, he's always forever quoted a third. A third is the cost of making a watch, a third is the operating overheads and whatever, and a third is profit, basically. You add retail into the mix, which Christopher Ward has never done, really, other than slightly at its head office now.
Yep.
That's moving the overhead costs, the fixed costs, considerably. That must move into the cost of the watch, for the price of the watch at some point, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So like it's thinking about it from a business point of view, that is a challenge, but that's why we're sitting right now upstairs above the retail space, and this is our office space. So we've very been intentional about how we use the space. So yes, we have our city centre retail location, but it's also our office, and you have to have an office. So all those overheads are kind of baked into the retail, so it actually doesn't hit the consumer in the way that it might if you were to have a flagship location on its own and then have to have another big back of house team somewhere else. It's all done in this one building, and blending that together with a strong team is why we've been able to maintain the price point where it is.
Yeah, and the other thing to say about the store is that the finishing of the cabinetry and everything about it, the attention to detail is superb, and I think that's really important for a watchmaker to every part of your brand experience has to be at the same sort of level. Is that something you really paid attention to?
Absolutely. The details, the finishing, it all has to speak to the quality of the watch. We wanted the design to feel very architectural, so that's why you'll see very clean lines. All of the cabinetry, the joinery is very precise, and we certainly we've invested over between this fit out and then the product development this to follow on the back of this. We're investing about £1 million into this space, so we certainly haven't. It's been an expensive thing to do, but we feel that investment for the long term of the business is going to be required to get to where we want to go.
I mean, is that all being self-funded, or have you got investors?
We just took on £500,000 of investment from a loan investment from White Rock Capital, and they've been incredibly supportive of helping us build the business. So yeah, it's been great. But so far to this point, it has been entirely self-funded and generated through our own momentum, and this is where we've had the first significant injection of outside cash to push us to the next level. So which obviously comes with its risks, but we've developed a pretty robust plan of where we want to take it.
Can you talk about that plan at all? What's the sort of 3-year horizon look like for you?
Yeah, very, very much. I think what we want to do is really double down on some of our product development so that we can have more watches in more price points and increase some of the complexity and develop this new chronograph and have more watches out there. And then the other part we want to really do is test this physical retail model and see if that works. We do find so far that having those face-to-face interactions with customers is amazing. That's what the clients love it, we love it, and it's having those conversations with people is just something you can't do online. So if this space works, that's something we want to try and do a little bit more of and have physical touch points where our clients are. A lot of our business is in the US, a lot of our business is in Dublin and London, so we want to have physical touch points where people can come try on a watch and actually speak to a human. And I think in this age going forward with AI and the rest of it, real human connections are going to be really more and more important to people, and that's why we want to maintain and grow that side of it.
But how would you go about doing that? I mean, are you talking about opening your additional stores and running them yourself, or are you going to look for retail partners?
Yeah, well, that's I think it'll be a blend. It'll be a blended approach. Certain places it won't be feasible to have our own retail stores, but other places it may be, and that's where we'll have to look and develop that. But it'll be a blend of our own stores and selective retail partners. We don't want to be absolutely everywhere and work with everyone, but if there's the right partners and the right retail spaces that can really do our brand justice, then we want to work with some of those people as well.
Yeah, I mean that's the really tough bit. I mean the retailers are not in the business of giving up space that could be used for Cartier to Nomadic. Let's be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's,
so you've got to find the right type of partner.
As we're building our brand and building a reputation and going to the shows and speaking to clients, and that's where when we can demonstrate the volume that we can do with those retailers, that's where it starts for them to make sense. And yeah, right now it might be a bit of a punt or a risk for a big retailer to take that on, but as we continue to develop the brand, I think that's where it becomes less of a risk and more of a no-brainer to do it.
But I think it's another thing that's super smart about having your own retail, where you can learn the business of retail, as I've learnt over many years of speaking to them, is a very specialist, can take not just years but generations to truly master, and you're going to be getting a crash course in what it takes to run retail. And I think that experience is something you can actually take into the conversations with other retailers and speak the same language as them. And that could be really valuable.
Absolutely. And that was my childhood growing up. My parents owned a retail store in our local village, and like a little newsagent shop. So that was my sort of growing up, was being involved in that sort of retail environment. And you absorb a lot of that, and you pick up some of those lessons along the way. And to do this at this level, there'll be a whole new set of lessons for us to learn, and this is going to be a great way to do it.
I mean, then there's the other way of getting those sort of touch points, which is there's events mushrooming all over the world. I mean, I definitely led by the Wind Up Watch Fair in America, which I don't know, is 5 or 6 cities now over there. We have British Watchmakers Day in the UK, WatchPro Salon in the UK, I must mention, of course. And any market you go to now, particularly for micro brands, there seems to be these and they're very much a retail event where you're expected to sell watches and meet the public.
Definitely.
I mean, is that the sort of interim thing for you to do a lot of those types of events?
We're doing a lot of those now. So we're attending all or certainly most of the wind-up shows in the US this year. So we did San Francisco. We'll be doing New York, and then next week we're going to Chicago. So that'll be a really big event for us. So that should be really cool. And so far, we get a great reception at the wind-up shows. So that gives us a lot of confidence that we are doing the right things. And then, British Watchmaking Day was obviously a huge success. That was incredible for us to be a part of that, and one of the only sort of Irish brands at that event, which was pretty cool for us. And then WatchPro Salon, obviously, as well, was an amazing event. So it's just connecting with clients face to face helps us build that brand more and more. And like you say, the more people can get hands-on with the product, the better, really.
And what about the sort? You're young. You grew up in a social media age. It's video everywhere these days. I mean, is that just in your makeup as well?
Yeah, it's something. Yeah, I think you just have to dive into. Yeah, I'm very much introverted kind of person. Being on camera is way out of my comfort zone. But I think in the age of social media, it's sink or swim, and you have to just accept that it's a part of the world now. And if the more and more you do it, the more and more comfortable you get, and you just have to
but at the same time, you can't be somebody you're not on social media. You're going to be found out pretty fast.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's why I hope it always comes across. We were chatting for a couple of hours. We were walking around the city, and I think you'll see the person I'm chatting to right now is the same guy you've been chatting to the whole time. It's you can't. When you try and fake it, it doesn't work. People just smell it straight away. It doesn't work. So you just have to be yourself. And that means sometimes you are a bit awkward, a bit clumsy and stuff. But that's the real me, and that's the way it sort of comes across. And you'll see, even we use that in a lot of our videos. It is maybe just me talking to the camera, and it's raw and it's uncut, and it's kind of, that's where people builds the trust and the connection with our clients, because it is who we are. So we'll add in. Yes, you need the high glossy, beautiful photography of the watches to really show them off, but you need some of that authenticity too, and that's kind of very much what we're about.
And I guess finally, what's the scale of your ambition? Let's say over the next few years. I mean, I don't know if you talk about how many watches you're making now and how many you expect to be making and selling over the next few years.
Yeah, so we're very much a very small player in the wider watch world, but we want to continue to grow and develop and become a much larger player. There is incredible brands obviously in Switzerland. There's some incredible brands across the UK, but there aren't very many brands in Ireland as a whole, in Northern Ireland and the Republic. And we want to be that kind of brand that can represent our little island and put us on the global stage. So that's very much our ambition, is to put Belfast on the map for watchmaking, and that means scaling it globally, and we're making strides towards that. So,
Okay,
yeah.
fantastic. Well, thanks for telling us the story.
Thanks, Rob.
All right,
Thanks
thank you. Thanks.
Cheers.